Hello and welcome to episode 11 of Simply Fitness and Nutrition with me, Mark. And in today's episode, we're going to do a Q&A. Now, today's episode is slightly different because I've also got this filming. So if you'd prefer to watch rather than listen, if you just go to my YouTube page, which is Coach Clegg, and I'll put the link in the description of the podcast below, and you can watch me if you really want to look at my face. Don't know why you would, but you've got the option now. You can have a little nosy of the office as well. Not that there's much to look at, but so you've got the option if you prefer to watch video. So today's episode, we're going to do a Q&A. So thank you very much for your questions and sending them in. We've got about 7 questions, I think, to go through today. So let's get started. First question is, how to get a grip on your eating habits and set up correctly. This is quite a tough question to answer, but I'm going to give it a go. And the reason why it's a tough question, it depends on sort of your situation. Everybody's different, and it depends on your sort of current eating habits and what you're setting them up correctly for. Is it sort of a certain goal in mind, such as fat loss or muscle building or sports specific? There's loads of different things which that set up correctly could mean. I suppose the first place to start, and sort of like a generic answer for everyone, is kind of have a look at your current intake and what you're currently doing. You might want to do something like write a food log. So this is what I do with a lot of my clients when I first start with them. I'll get them to do a 7-day food log, and that'll be just to write down everything that you eat and drink over a 7-day period. And for me as a trainer and the coach, then that just gives me an idea of what you're currently doing. And there might be some glaring things to me then where I can see, and if your goal is fat loss, I can see, right, I can clearly see that we're eating over your calories with over consuming this type of food, or I notice that maybe portion size is too big or bigger than you need. So there's different things that you'll be able to see potentially from just writing a food log and just being aware of what you're eating. Other things that you've got to look at and look for is, think about the quality of the food that you're getting. Is there a way that you can get more fruit and vegetables within your diet? If there is, think of different methods that you could do it. Could you sort of get it in there in like sort of blended into like a smoothie, or could you get it within, with some sort of stew, more vegetables in that? Would you be interested in eating it as a snack? So these are little things that you can look at to get sort of more fruit and veg in your diet. Also think about, when you do write this food log, think about things that, food groups that are making you feel more satisfied after them. So if you eat, say, like a meal of, pasta with a certain meat, maybe chicken pasta, something like that. If you notice after that meal, as long as the portion size is okay, but if you notice after that meal that you feel really full and satisfied after it, and that then leads you to less snacking between your next meal, then that's potentially going to be a better option than having something like a chicken salad, but you end up having 3 snacks in between the next meal. Probably the amount of calories you've consumed in that first meal may be less than the chicken salad and all the snacks put together. So there's just little things like that you can look at to try and help you. But hopefully that gives you a better understanding. It's a hard one to answer without really looking at what you're currently eating and knowing your situation. But hopefully I've given you something to think about. Okay, next question. When should you increase your weights? Again, on this one, they probably need a little bit more context, like what's your goal, what are you increasing them for, etc. But again, I'm going to give you a generic answer, so I give you something to think about. Now, if your goal is, first of all, let me talk about progressive overload. If you don't know what progressive overload, it basically means just increasing or making an exercise more challenging or more difficult over a period of time. So that might be gradually increasing the weights as it goes on. It might be doing more sets. It might be altering the rep range, so you're doing more reps. It can be adding a pause into the movement, so changing the tempos around. It can be reducing the rest in between sets as well. So there's various different things that we can do to progress, to follow the progressive overload principle. Now, when I work with clients, I'll probably have them working in a certain rep range or around a certain rep range. So I'm going to use an example now of somebody that's looking to maybe build muscle. So if you think of hypertrophy, or hypertrophy, which is building muscle, you want to, there's not a specific range, but it's normally around, and a good rule of thumb is around 6 to 12 reps is about a good a rule of thumb for muscle building. Now, if I give a client, say for example, 3 sets of a rep range of 6 to 12, if that client can comfortably take an example exercise of a bench press, let's say they can do 3 sets of 60 kilograms and they hit 12 reps on each of them sets. If they can do that, then I would advise them on the next session to, after they've done the warm-up set, to maybe try 62.5 or even 65 on the bench press to start with and progress that way. So when you're given a rep range, if you hit the top of that rep range in all 3 sets, this is how I do it with my training, then your next session you want to really progress and try and increase that. Now that's specific to muscle building, but you still want to follow progressive overload when you're looking to change your body composition in any way. So if you're looking to burn fat, your body does adapt to the exercise you do, so you still want to follow progressive overload to get better. So again, make sure you're increasing your weight where possible, or have a little play around with the reps and sets. But again, if you're working with me individually, that obviously is something that you'll get a bit more attention and more individualized to you. Okay, question number 3. Does muscle really weigh more than fat? This is a great question, and this is a question that over the years I've kind of thought that it did, and I can kind of understand why people still think that it does. But first of all, let's look at a kilogram of fat versus a kilogram of muscle. It's like the feathers and is it a ton of feathers and a ton of bricks? I think it is. That question, what weighs more? And a lot of people sometimes go for a ton of bricks because you think of a single brick versus a single feather, and obviously it weighs a lot more. But a ton is a ton, same as muscle and fat. If you've got a kilogram of muscle and a kilogram of fat, they obviously weigh the same. It's a kilogram. Now, what differs is a muscle is denser, so fat takes up more space within the body. So a really easy example. So if you think of something like, this is going to sound a bit random. Think of like a Tupperware container that you might do your meal prepping. If you was to 2 identical Tupperware containers, same size, if you was to fill one with fat and you'd fill one with muscle to the brim, if you put them on the scale, the muscle will weigh more because it's a denser, what's the word? It's just denser. It's denser than fat. Fat takes up more space. So hopefully that explains it. Now, if the goal is if we're trying to change our body composition, so if we're trying to lose body fat and gain muscle, there probably will be a time where you might go slightly heavier, depending on how much fat you've got to lose. You might go slightly heavier, but your body shape is changing, and that's why people think muscle weighs more than fat, because of that. So the scale weight could change, although your body composition is getting better and improving. So that's sort of where it comes from, but hopefully that explains the difference in the weight. Okay. Next question. what's best, cardio then weights, or weights then cardio? Okay, this depends on a couple of things. So first of all, it depends on the goal. If your goal is simply to get stronger and build muscle, or both, then you want to prioritize weight training and resistance training. And if that is the case, then you're probably going to be doing minimal cardio. The cardio might just be for health reasons and health benefits. If your goal is fat loss, now my view on this is there's no, to my knowledge, there's no study that shows whether more calories are burnt through either. Hopefully you know now that a calorie deficit is the most important thing for fat loss. So it kind of comes down to two things for me. One, preference and enjoyment. That's two things. Preference, let's go three things then. Preference. If you prefer doing your cardio before your weights and it feels better that way for you, then do it that way. There's your answer. Second thing, if you are, and again this is individual to the person, but if the main component of your session is going to be the resistance training and cardio is kind of just on top, I would do the weight session first. And the reason I say that is because I think if you do your cardio first and you use all your energy on the cardio, there's more things that can go wrong with the resistance side, whether that be like your core's weakened or technique can go worse, or there's more potential injuries with the resistance side. So I would make sure that you do your resistance side while you're fresh at the start of your session. That's how I'd look at it. And there was a third thing which I can't remember what I was going to say. Enjoyment. It's gone. If it comes back, I'll tell you. So yeah, it depends on preference, I think, to be honest. Strength training, you're gonna, if your goal is to get stronger, you want to do all resistance and a little bit of cardio for health benefits. And then if it's fat loss or anything in between, then your preference. I would personally go towards the weight side because more can go wrong first. Okay, next question. Can I lose weight without exercising? 100% you can lose weight without exercising. As I've mentioned on loads of different videos, and I always go on about it, calorie deficit is the thing that we need to lose weight, lose body fat. However, would I advise it? No, because for two reasons really. First reason, the health benefits of any type of exercise just is what we should be looking for. And two, if you add exercise into there, exercise is only going to complement a calorie deficit, and it's going to help you to achieve that. So I think the simple answer is yes, of course you can. You can create a calorie deficit by monitoring your calorie intake, but think of the health benefits of exercise, and I think most people should look at it this way. I think a lot of people get sort of tied up and in sort of the aesthetic side of exercising and improving how they look, and but you've kind of got to think about what's going on in the inside as well. Just think about the benefits to like your cardiorespiratory system, so your heart and lungs, how that works, how efficiently that works. Think about exercising, preventing, and also what's the word? Not minimizing. Yeah, minimizing. Or anyway, minimizing illnesses. So bringing on illnesses, it's going to improve your. It's going to improve your. What's the word I'm thinking of? Mine's gone blank. Anyway, let's move on. It's going to improve your posture, your balance, your coordination. think resistance training is going to improve your bone density, and especially as you get older, it's going to help with reducing falls or the risk of falls. So there's just so many benefits to exercise, which is why we recommend it and why everybody recommends it. I think it's one thing we can all agree on, that nutrition is so sort of mixed with what people say and what's good, what's bad, what's good. We can all agree that exercise is just only positive. I think the only negative is potential of injury, but the pros far outweigh the cons with exercise. So definitely you can lose weight, but include it. One thing that I should also touch on is the mental health side of exercise. So we know how good it is for mental health and improving your mental health, and just releasing them feel good hormones and endorphins, and just making you feel better and giving you more energy on a day-to-day basis. So definitely, if your goal is to lose weight or lose body fat or improve your sort of aesthetic look in any sort of way, exercise has to be involved in that, and I would definitely include resistance training in that. Okay, so that's what I was going to say. Your improvements to your immune system, so it's going to help with your immunity as well. So it's all pros with exercise, so you can do it, but keep exercising there. And I think that's the final question. That is the final question. Yeah, so hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching. Not much has gone on. I've looked at you a few times. I've looked at the camera a few times. Other than that, I've just kind of waffled as I normally do. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you have watched on YouTube, just click the like button and subscribe as well. That'd be great. And if you've listened as normal on the podcast, thank you so much for listening. The listeners are going up each week, which is really good to see. It makes me happy that people are actually listening. And I've had some really good feedback as well. If you could just leave a review wherever you listen to your podcast, that'll just help it as well, help it grow. Because I'm really enjoying doing it, and I hope you're enjoying listening. Next week we have episode 12, and I've already come up with what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to go through some nutrition myths. So that should be an interesting one. And that is everything. So again, thanks for tuning in, listening, watching, and I will see you in the next episode.